Erie, so I'm here. Yeah, I just went to watch a little video Aya just sent me, and again, when I returned, everyone was on it. Anyway, ugh, this is horrible and frustrating.
Yeah, I was trying to find his clubhouse profile, but I don't have it, unfortunately.
Especially, it is unnerving, you know, when you hear people trying to justify this shit.
It's a tough day, and all my solidarity and thoughts to all Jewish friends in Australia and around the world. This is really tough.
Thank you,
Did you read Daniel's PTR? It says over 24 hours, a Muslim killed 3 Americans in Syria. 5 Muslims arrested for plotting a massacre at a Christmas market in Germany. A Paris concert to cancel due to Muslim violence. 2 Muslims murdered 12 people at the Hanukkah party in Australia. Yeah, it's clear that Islamophobia is out of control.
By Muslims who get into this religion and they believe in that God's gonna get girls into doing behavior such a bad one.
And I sent, and I don't know if it was yesterday or 2 days ago, I sent Daniel a video of this Israeli comedian. What's his name? Do you remember, Daniel? I'm not good with names, especially not with like. Yeah, he's hilarious. And he's pointing out the irony, right, in saying, I mean, when the Muslims say, oh yeah, because Israel is a colonizing power, and he's like, well, have you seen my country? You need to zoom in 17 times in order to find my country in a map. And not only that, but you cannot even fit the name Israel on the map. It's like, and you're saying that they are the colonizers when you see the whole Muslim world that have what, 56 or so?
Yeah, you can write Saudi Arabia with Saudi Arabia, you can write with double spacing, and you still have enough room. And I said, what you, of course Saudi Arabia, what, Saudi Arabia? Well, maybe in 5 years.
Yeah. Maybe in 5 years.
You know, just to be fair, it's not the size of the territory, it's the, the vigor and the forceization, but it's the actions. And you look, starting in 7th century on, Islam had been very open about how it wants to conquer the whole world, and it's been pretty forceful about it, militarily, physically, expanding its territory, expanding its influence and stuff. So I don't think that it's even a conversation of it.
Yeah, to Hadis was also saying before in the chat, for the Muslim from the river to the sea, it just means from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Like these people are going for the whole world. And you were right, Andre. But the thing is that we want to say, oh, that's not really what they mean, like you're taking things out of context. They don't really, really mean that they want to conquer the world.
It's
just another religion.
It's on the same level as saying like, oh, Islam just means peace. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with submission or anything.
It will turn you into pieces.
Huh? Sorry,
it makes it'll turn you into peace. That's not the right peace word we can name that.
But honestly, like I'm more and more convinced that my hypothesis is correct in terms of that very toxic combination of expansionist mentality and the all-encompassing ideological foundation. Those two things together, they do not leave room for anyone else to exist, and so they become incompatible with anything, literally, like
Yeah,
nothing else can
I'm sure that
separate ground.
some sects of Islam turned into ethno-religions like the Alawites and the Ibadites, and they are kind of okay because they don't have this expansion fantasy. That's true.
And you
The,
know,
the Sufis are also cool.
Yeah.
sort of. But I think,
What?
but I think,
Your drink.
Daniel, I think you're hot micing.
Yeah, that makes
But I think also why I'm more and more convinced with my hypothesis is because that type of proposition can be applied to other ideologies outside of Islam. So, for example, with communism, right, or fascism, it's all encompassing. It's expansionist, and it basically takes over all of the aspects of life, including like social engineering, political, everything.
That's not even like expansion through good ways, you know. It's not even expansion through knowledge and not forced conversions. It's expansion with war only.
Well, expansionism by itself is not necessarily.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily become toxic. Like Christianity is also expansionist, but it allows the separation of like Caesar's to Caesar, and like spiritual to whatever, like your priest or your community and stuff. So it allows that separation, and that what it allows it to coexist with others. But when those two things are together, working in unison, then it's game over.
And the thing is that these ideologies are totalitarian inherently because they only work if everyone is. It doesn't work if one person doesn't adhere to it. The same with communism. I mean, you cannot have communism working if you have one capitalist bastard in the middle of that population. So you need to force people to be communistic. And that's the reason why, quote unquote, it has never been truly implemented. And the same thing with Islam. It doesn't work if one bastard doesn't believe in Muhammad. You have to force everyone. These are totalitarian ideologies that it's either everyone or no one. Well, I said no and no because that's the whole point.
Yeah, that's how you have peer policing in Sharia law, and you have honor killing, and you have prostitutes laws in there.
Islam is far more powerful than communism because, one, it is a word of God and it has lasted 1400 years. Communism has barely lasted a century. But more importantly, Islam.
It's pretty hard today. It's very diplomatic.
In Islam, a Muslim's child will become a Muslim and start getting to the age of 5. In communism, you might get educated and you might dislike communism once you grow up to be 18. With Islam, it's impossible. You're brainwashed so deeply.
The problem is when you make Marxism and socialism communism with jihadism, that's where the name
Also, as being the victim of whatever socialist regime, I have to tell you that they are very, very good. In fact, a lot of tactics that we see in the Middle East with those jihadist organizations are learned from Soviets, because Soviets became masters of propaganda and brainwashing. So the same thing with the Chinese government. They start in fucking kindergarten. You don't just get education. You get a very specific political education embedded in whatever you're learning in the classroom. So it's one of the same.
Tell me one communist who has 4 wives who can give birth to 30 children. Name one communist in the world.
Yeah, you're missing the point.
Yeah, it's irrelevant to your earlier position, because what you're saying is like, in communism you might get an education, but you're allowed dissent. You're not allowed dissent. And in fact, they put you through struggle sessions. If you even voice any kind of dissent,
At the age of, I don't know, like in the first grade, in the second grade, they will get all of your, comrades in the classroom, and you'll be put through a struggle session as a child. Okay, so I mean they are very similar, if not same, in terms of the tools that they're using for it.
I think the point about the children is about how it's spread, not just this specific thing that Muslim can have multiple wives, but about the fact that one Muslim can have, like, I don't know, 20 children, and this how it expands, unlike communism.
Yeah, communism is no family. It's to destroy the core of the family.
Exactly. They will self-destroy at some point in history. I was in a cab in New York a few weeks ago, and the driver was a Palestinian from the West Bank. And I asked him, like, how big is his family? He said, I have 8 sons. And I'm like, wow, that's a big family. All in America, they're working as a mechanics in a garage. And I was saying, oh, that's a big family. He said, no, it's not a big family. My cousin who lives in the West Bank, he's a grandfather. He has 112 grandchildren. 112 grandchildren in the West Bank.
But they're probably not alive, all of them.
Well,
That's another thing. I mean, like they might reproduce a lot, but they'll die very young because they're just like doing all this bullshit. And that's why you have very young populations. And when people say, "Oh my God, the children in Gaza," it's like, yeah, well, they're all like super young, and they're giving guns to 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds.
And so this is why I also I would not be so quick to dismiss socialism and communism. They did go through a stage in the early, I think, 20s where they were trying to destroy the families unit because they saw it as something that would distract from the communist future. But they very quickly learned that the society is going to collapse into itself. So when Stalin came to power, he became extremely conservative about family values. And there was even a whole program, like a state program, that would give meals and special financial aid to women who had more, I think, than 4 children. It was called the Heroic Mother. Very similar, by the way, to what Nazis were doing. I think Nazis actually kind of adopted a technique from them.
look how many Chinese we have in America, right? Chinese students. Are they blowing themselves up? They're all coming from a communist country. All the Russians who come to the US, they might be pro-Russia, they might be anti-Ukraine, but are they blowing themselves up on the streets of America?
Yeah, nobody's saying that one is a mirror of the other. It's in principle, just like the manipulation and the propaganda tactics. Nobody is saying that
I get it.
that Islam is a mirror of communism. But
No,
the methods they use in order to manipulate the minds of people is very similar.
I get it. My point is Islam is 10,000 times more dangerous than communism.
They're both dangerous. And you know why? Because Islam, you can recognize it. Liberalism and communism, not so much. I mean, people do a lot of things under communism or socialism, but because socialism is just like a lesser degree, right, than communism. But people do a lot of things in the name of the good, on the collective good. And so it is very disguised. A lot of people don't even know that they're supporting socialist ideas, but they are. Everyone that supports public education, public healthcare, tax collection, all of these are the path to socialism, the path to communism. And people might say, oh yeah, well, I'm not a communist. That's like, yeah, honey, you might not be there yet, but it's the same staircase. The difference is on what step you're on. Communism might be the top step of that escalator or of that staircase. And accepting taxes might be just like 2 steps on the staircase. Just to clarify to the rest of the people, whoever gets offended, he is in the matrix.
It's socialist or communist. And
No,
also,
can you
I
repeat
would
your
urge
whole
you.
point because you went in the matrix?
Oh, so I would say that it's commonwealth is not a necessary path to socialism. Acknowledging that there is such thing as common motivation or common goals, that's not a path to socialism. I think that's just
When you
categorically
transfer the
incorrect.
wealth from the
But-
individual onto the collectivist, the collective, that is.
But that's not what commonwealth is. That's not what commonwealth
Yeah,
is.
I never
That's-
mentioned
yeah,
Commonwealth.
that's-
You
that's-
brought up Commonwealth.
But commonwealth, like all of the things that you're talking about in terms of education, state-sponsored programs, that is the idea of commonwealth as well. I mean, they share some features, but
I
they
don't
don't
think so.
necessarily mean they're the same. Well, I know you don't think so, but I think
No,
you're
because
correct.
for Commonwealth, you don't need
Hold on,
to
let me
steal
finish.
money from one
You-
city
you-
to the other.
Yeah, so it's incorrect to make such a generalization as saying that collecting taxes or redistributing taxes for commonwealth type of goals is necessarily leading to socialism. That's incorrect. And the second thing I would urge you is to make a distinction between liberalism and socialism, communism, because socialism and communism are in direct opposition to liberalism and the values of the.
Yeah, and what did I say? That said that they were
You
liberal.
you said that it's liberalism, socialism, and communism. You put them all.
No, I
in the same
didn't
category.
mention the word liberalism.
You did. I was listening, like actively listening. You mentioned.
Oh, well,
I
then
was
I
just.
made a mistake because I
That's
thought
fine,
that
that's
communism
fine.
and socialism
And
are the
I'm
one
not
that not
harping.
liberalism.
Yeah, I'm not harping on that point. I'm just saying, just be. It's an easy slip to make because we file them in the same category of left of center.
And just by the way, Commonwealth doesn't require a distribution of the wealth. Commonwealth just means like things or public spaces or common stuff that should be shared by everyone. That is a commonwealth. It doesn't mean that I am going to make a claim on your property to give it to someone else that needs your property. A redistribution of the wealth is not commonwealth.
Are you collecting taxes in the Commonwealth to redistribute it for the common good?
No, but again,
That's your.
commonwealth doesn't redistribute the wealth.
So exactly. So this is why those are two completely different motivations and should not be filed
Correct,
as
and I
such
never
general terms
mentioned
of saying
Commonwealth.
collect the taxes. Isa, I'm just telling you that you need to be in terms of the way you define things. It will be helpful if you do a little bit
And
sharper
socialism
definition.
Socialism is a redistribution of the wealth. You take forcefully from someone to redistribute
Yes,
to
correct.
someone that doesn't have. Commonwealth is not that. Commonwealth could be some sort, let's say, of crown property that everyone makes use of it. That is not a redistribution.
Yes, please come again.
Yes, Daniel, we agree with you.
I wanted to come on for a second, if I could.
Hi,
Hi, guys. I have spent the morning, I can't even begin to tell you what is going on now because it's the first night of Hanukkah here. And there's, very large public displays where we have menorahs in public places and we have community leaders that light them and beautiful programs. I mean, we do this every year. And there's one almost every night. So it's just been, as well as people that are having them in restaurants or in private homes that are whacking out and incredibly nervous. So again, I live in a state that's a gun-friendly state and people have learned to shoot and we have shooting classes and we've helped people get self-protection, but not all the states in the U.S. are this way. And clearly, to my Canadian friends who I really worry about, and Bibi, I don't know if he's on or not right now, and Rena, very, very concerned. So it's it's just a week of trying to now put all of this infrastructure that for the last few years we've been putting in place and putting it to work. But you have to be very diligent and very aware. Luckily, a lot of the local police departments have been exceptional, as well as the counterterrorism units that are part of FBI and fusion centers. If you saw what happened in Rhode Island, the fusion center there kicked in right away and got involved in it. But that's, we can't have any of these events without significant police presence. Significant.
You're just pointing out exactly why not exactly why, one of the reasons why I'm incredibly paranoid about some of the gatherings. Like, there was even a basketball, celebration in Toronto, and some gunman was there. So I've never really participated in large group activities like the Boston Marathon. I have an incredible, mass shooting, Ariana Grande kind of paranoia. So, but what's happening in Toronto is they're going to be having a Hanukkah demonstration in a Jewish area where there have been Palestinians walking around with Nazi signs calling Jews Nazis, like calling for their genocide without police enforcement whatsoever. So we're in Canada, where they've recognized the Palestinian state before the terms actually came to bear, before hostages were released. So all the terms that the government said the Palestinian Authority had to adhere to were, and then they started raising Palestinian flags in Toronto. And now there's going to be another celebration of Hanukkah in the Jewish area where there are still protesters doing counter demonstration, not against Israel, but against Jews. So I appreciate you coming on stage and mentioning Canada, but this is like an ongoing issue in the Commonwealth, speaking of Commonwealth, in the UK, in Australia, in Canada, because all those dumb motherfuckers are supporting, this leftist jihadist narrative that these are the governments in charge, but ones that have been indoctrinated since the 90s to support this sort of Marxist jihadist agenda. So that's what we're dealing with. America, you guys are safe right now, but I'm very concerned about what's going to happen.
They're not that safe.
They're not that safe.
Hold on. So, I hear this, and I hear this from your group, and it pisses me off. Like, you shouldn't be feared. They're not safe in America. Fuck, there was a guy who fucking basically mall walkers that were Jewish got sprayed down and lit on fire. So, that shit is going on in America as well whenever Jewish people gather. My argument is that you've taken the nice approach. You tried to be humane. You tried to be passive. You tried to pacify all the critiques and criticisms. And you face a more verbal onslaught. You face a more direct attack. And then you have Muslim leaders going, oh, we condemn the attack. But then tomorrow they're going to go right back to the rhetoric of anti-Semitism, targeting, anyone from Israel, everyone with an Israeli descent is, Nazi or whatever fucking bullshit they're going to say. Stop being passive. Stop being that. Let your warriors off. Let the men who want to fucking support you.
1,000%.
Let them go out there and take the souls from their body. Let them go meet whatever fucking sky daddy they pray to and end their bloodline and say, here you go. You want to target us? Here's what we do. And you may not, you may not like that approach, but you've been trying it your way and losing for, 75 years. Trust me.
Israel is the idea, first of all. And in Canada, we're not allowed guns. The Jews in America are allowed guns.
Yes,
we're not.
yes, we are. Yes, we are. That's a lie.
Well, it's very difficult to get guns.
No, it's not.
Same
It's
in
not.
Australia.
No, it's not. There's a stigmatism here. And people,
Okay, I'm not
it's
gonna
not. Guns aren't illegal. You just need to be a legal gun owner, and anywhere in the world. And the problem is,
you get arrested when you defend yourself in Canada.
yeah, but that's okay. Would you rather be judged by 12 or carried by 6? I'd rather be judged by 12.
It's difficult in some parts in the United States, like in New York City. I mean, I just left a whole group of people, including some Canadians. But people are taking lessons. They're learning to shoot. They're buying guns.
Self-defense, guys. The number one thing is you gotta be out there in the open.
I know how to shoot a gun, and that have.
No, it's not about that. You gotta be out in the open. The problem is they win when you're afraid to go to these protests. When you're afraid to go outside, they're like, look, they're scared. And then when they, I know you've already voiced your opinion on that a couple years ago, but it's not about that. The point is, then they start walking into streets in Thornhill and Bathurst and Shepherd, and they start walking down public streets and terrorizing Jews because Jews are afraid to go to those events. You need to show them you're not fucking afraid of them.
I mean, to the same extent,
And if you have to run one or two over, you run the fuckers over.
Baby, when you say to the same extent to Christians, Christians need to go to the markets in Germany. They have to.
Yeah, everybody's got to get the fuck out of their house.
They have to be able to go to the Christmas markets. Like, we can't stop doing this. It's the same thing. I mean, Issa, we talked about this after the attack in Germany. You can't just not do it, but you have to be vigilant, and you have to also do a lot of background. I mean, we have plate readers. We read license plates. We know. So we're able to pick up. We have facial recognition. I mean, we're on top of as much as we can, but to say not to gather is also cowardly. You have to gather smartly.
I'm not saying not to gather. I said this was one racist to me personally. Secondly, you guys are talking in it, like you're talking about people being naive and not defend yourself, but you're also not looking at the larger picture. We're literally dealing with governments who aren't protecting their Jewish community, so that's fine. You want to have the Jews and the Christians get together and get their guns and defend themselves, that's fine. I support that. I support that. But I'm saying that in Canada, anyone who defends themselves, they go to jail. Not the people.
That's anywhere in the world, young lady. That's anywhere in the world.
Where we have the government in power that's supporting the jihadists.
Rena, so
What Rena is
like,
saying, hold on. Rena is not saying anything outrageous. That is exactly what's happening in the UK as well. In the UK, somebody denounces Muslim for rape, and the one that is being put in jail is the woman denouncing them for you know, so that is the thing. I mean, like,
I don't see a problem with the fucking million Muslims that are marching, guys.
Hold on, baby. Europe and Canada, they're working backwards.
so I just want to say that.
No, that's not true, though. It's not true.
Wait, hold on. So your fear is, I'm going to go to jail or I may die, and that's true. You may get killed. You may go to prison. You may get beaten. But is it better to be beaten? Would you trade all this time and all that effort and give it all up because you're being targeted now? Would you live in fear for the rest of your days and acquiesce to this, or would you stand and fight? Wait, no, I let you go. But let me finish. We all have responsibility. I have children too.
Sacrifice myself for my family.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So you know what? Go ahead. Everybody can cut. She can cut everybody off. I'm saying you're going to live in fear the rest of your day, and your family is going to live in fear. Your family is going to be targeted. Your family going to suffer what your decision. Okay, there you go. That's mine. Thank you.
Know me, so you can speak in generalities, but don't speak for me or.
He's not speaking for you, but you're speaking for people in general.
You're saying to live in fear. That's not where I'm coming from.
It sounds like that.
I'm saying to look at the top-down issue, which is like what Issa was saying, is that we're dealing with a larger issue here than just people going to rallies. It's a bigger problem, and I'm just trying to get you to acknowledge that and to see, like, what do you do about the fact that women who are, accusing gang rapers who are Pakistani Muslims in the UK, and there's no enforcement. We have a larger societal issue in Canada, UK, and Australia.
Nah, man, that's not true, though, guys. I've been in Shepherd for the past fucking 107 weeks. For 700 fucking days, I've seen one of the most powerful, strongest women in Canada show up every fucking Sunday to protest for our hostages to come back, stood there day and night and protest loud and proud without fear, and went to their Instagram, went to their Facebook and said, fuck you, we're Jews and we're not going anywhere. And they went there and made themselves uncomfortable, put themselves comfortable in uncomfortable situations, not for them, for their children and their grandchildren. They did it selflessly to show that we're not afraid of you. Even if they are afraid, they're showing them, fuck you, we're gonna show up and we're gonna march every fucking Sunday. Whether it was raining, there was was no excuse that they didn't show up. They showed up every fucking Sunday.
The other thing that you do is what I just finished doing this last week, is you go to your legislators, you go to Washington, you knock on fucking doors, and you tell them they
Knock on fucking doors!
people from
And you tell them what you want.
trying to attack it in the name of free speech, and you get your congressmen, you get your local representatives, and when in Canada you go to your representatives and you try to enact laws, because Rena, if you think it's from the top and it's a bigger issue, then you've got to attack the bigger issue by the rule of law in the stations that you live in. And you go to your representatives and you
did that. I was
and continue to do it. Just so continue to do it. And it's not a one-shot deal.
2 years, like,
And unfortunately, you have to spend another year.
I can't even get into why it was, but yeah, no, I'm still engaged politically. Yes, it's not something I speak of, but that's like really the only way to, like, okay, fine, rally at a person's fine, good, great, that's great, but like the people who are in power, I agree with you, Abby. That's exactly where it needs to go. But anyway, I'm ready.
But it
The
came
people that are in power are going to these protests. Michael Kersner, he goes every Sunday. Melissa Lanceman, she's a member of parliament, MP, she goes every Sunday. They go there to see, and it makes them proud, and they get to go with chutzpah whenever they go and fight Congress, and they fight the government. What?
That's their job.
So what? You know how many fucking politicians don't do their job, but now they see that there's people that they have to fight for that are putting them to account and holding them to accountability, and they're like, look, if we're fighting, you need to fight even harder for us, and they're proud to fight for them because they see.
I don't know, if you're so scared, just move to Israel. I don't know, like, if you're so scared,
I am not talking about my fear.
so just move to Israel then. I don't understand.
You are talking about your fear. You are.
Just go
I'm
ahead.
saying that I do not go to that.
Not because you kept getting cut
That
off.
was just one of them.
I already texted him again. Hold on.
Me personally, I'm not gonna let these people scare me ever. Never have, never will. Even before today, none of this is new. This is not new news what these people do, okay? Terrorist attacks is not a new thing. You already know this already. So, it's either you're scared, you live in fear the rest of your life, which that's what they want, that's exactly what terrorism is, or you don't live with fear, because life is too short to live with fear, and too sweet to live with fear, so I would never. Doesn't matter if I have a gun or not to protect myself. But there's always solutions for everything. So can't sit here and cry about it because that's not going to do anything. Oh yeah, you were? No, sound like you were.
Did anyone say in the room? I talked to Rowan last night, right after I heard this. He was in Melbourne. He's fine. He's trying to reach everyone. I have friends that are in Sydney, and then all of a sudden I see the picture of Arson with the blood all over his head. I mean, it's just like mind-boggling to see that. Have they released the names?
I'm not
I just
sure,
know the
but
rabbi.
somebody was saying that it was a Pakistani and an Afghani, but I don't think they released
Oh, it
the
was
names of the
They
attackers.
released the names of the shooters. Yes, they did.
the shooters, Pakistani and Lebanese, maybe. I thought it was.
Pakistan, and then was in Afghanistan. So he migrated. He was like originated in Pakistan, went to Afghanistan, from Afghanistan went to Australia, and he was like, like there's some awesome sort of thing going on. You can look it up.
So how do you feel about Trump's policy now to check social media back a couple years before someone comes into the country?
I mean, I'm
100%.
And to vet it?
You don't think they already do that, Abby?
Yeah, I mean, to some extent
Essential.
now,
Well,
under this
they also
administration.
like check your eye. They do that. Like if you're not American, they screen like they do the eye thing. I don't know. Like there's mega security. They didn't do that to Canadians before, but now that they're coming through Canada into the States, so now they're doing it to everyone coming in from Canada too.
What are they doing?
They're like registering your what's the things in the eyeball.
Your retina?
Yeah.
it's like more than a fingerprint, huh? Because a fingerprint you can change, I guess.
Yeah, no, it is. It's much more. Yeah, it's definitely like a more fingerprint. But I don't care because I'm not a terrorist, so it doesn't matter to me. But that's something they didn't do to Canadians before. But now, with the Carney's policies, for sure, I totally agree with it. Everything America says bad about Canadians. I actually 100% agree with. But anyway.
I had my last trip to the UAE going in, I had to take my contacts out right at the entrance. It was weird. They just, and they did the retina scan, but they wouldn't let me in the country unless I took the contacts out. I wonder if that's what they'll do now coming in, if they do a retina scan here.
To America?
Yeah.
No, they won't do it if you're American.
No, I mean for a foreigner coming in, if they're doing a retina scan, if they do that.
Yeah.
I wonder how soon what we are seeing is these ice raids. I wonder how soon that's going to start in Australia or anywhere in Europe.
Never.
They've actually been deporting.
Why are you saying that?
Quietly. They have been deporting people quietly from Australia, from Europe, from Canada, very quietly, but because of the attempt political, because the population are not happy with that idea, so it's not as publicized. But if you were to Google it, you can see something that's a long deportations already.
Wow. It's such a polarizing topic here in the
But not
U.S.
that clearly. Not enough.
Right.
Wow.
It's such a polarizing topic in the U.S.
To me, in the States, that people don't want to get rid of illegal migrants. I've been waiting 15 years to get to America legally. Why do they get to jump the line? Do I have to fly into El Salvador and walk through Mexico to get in?
You should try to fly so you get points. No. The New York Times, they must have a reward out there because they have endless stories about a girl who was came here to age of 4, finished high school, was a great student, now in college. Oh, at the airport she was flying home. Oops, she was detained by ICE. That is the story that we are reading in the New York papers consistently, how unfair the whole thing is. I guess, and these kids are called dreamers.
It's not unfair. If you come into a country illegally and don't go through the proper channels to guarantee that you are there legally, it's called fair, actually. That is fair that you get kicked out of the country.
Yeah, well, it's a very polarizing topic here.
Yeah, I understand that.
It's only polarizing for the lefties that disagree with it.
They just think that there should be open borders and it should be this mass global.
No, it's not. I guess they want an
You saw
exception.
what happened in Colorado, right? To the guy who threw the fucking fire bombs on the old Jewish people that were just marching for the hostages that they were doing every single week. That guy came in he came in with a regular travel visa, overstayed his travel visa, and he was here in the country illegally, and it was during the Biden administration. I mean, imagine how many more of these motherfuckers are here right now.
Right.
So yes, they should deport every one of these motherfuckers. I don't care if they're part of the cartel. I don't care if they're part of Hamas. It doesn't matter. They all need to be deported.
They said one of these was a watch list in Australia.
Of course it was.
Yes.
Because if they did anything to go and actually find this guy and take him into custody, something would be called Islamophobic. And in Australia, they can't have that. They can't be Islamophobic there. No.
Well, that's mostly the urban centers that are full of like Canada, like the States. But the rural areas, they're actually very nationalistic, Christian. It's just the city centers and the city that are
thing is, it's not new. Like from when I was a little kid, I mean, I remember seeing police at my synagogue, you know, for Yom Kippur and all the high holidays, like all the time. So I just don't understand, and it was even before then also. So I mean, you know, I just don't understand where the mentality, especially after what's happened in the last couple of years and all the fucking anti-Semitic shit that goes around the internet and all this vile shit that people put in their heads and they brainwash the world with. They just think it's okay to just go to, and I saw some videos of some people just, you know, inside of the celebration there on the beach. It was a lot of people, and it was people with their kids, family.
There. It is a Jewish area, actually.
So it's just scary.
Event shit that happens there. But you know what? You want to talk about naivete? How about the naivete of the Jewish communities in Canada, UK, and Australia, thinking that they can just go and gather without security, that the government's going to protect them, that the police are going to be there and enforce it, that they're actually doing their jobs with intelligence and making sure there aren't jihadists that are like swarming around Jews at Jewish events. Like that's what's been going on. In the UK, they had holidays and there was a shooting there. In Australia, Bondi Beach, shooting there. I mean, you know, the government has been enabling it, and the Jewish communities of Canada, UK, and Australia are naive to think that they can do these things without more security. We had security before, now they need more, because the government certainly isn't going to help them.
Well, that's exactly my point.
Or they need to get out.
They feel like so safe around a government that will never protect them. So yeah, I don't know.
We had an MP here who was celebrating Hanukkah, one of the fucking Liberal parties, Mr. Housefather, who's like the token Jew of the Liberal Party, and he made this announcement saying, Happy Hanukkah, just so you know, Canada is one of the safest places for Jews. Not really, no. Why are all the Jewish communities under threat every single weekend? Why are there...
Who did that? Who did that?
Housefather.
Uh-oh.
He just posted on Instagram. It's like, no, it's not. Like, it's just a matter of time. But
We need more guys like Roman Barber, bro.
Why can't the governments be sued for not
they are
enforcing the
being
law?
sued currently, actually. There are many lawsuits against them right now. Human rights lawsuits about them not enforcing the law, not enforcing hate crimes. Did you know that the person who's in charge of the hate crime unit in Toronto, Canada, went on public, like in a video saying how October 7th led to a number of rebirths? This is the head of the hate crime unit. The one that's supposed to protect the Jews.
Well, obviously that's a joke. Obviously that person's a joke, and the hate crime unit is a joke.
Yeah, no kidding. But yet again, you have the naivete of the Jewish community thinking, we're in a Western country, the government's going to protect us, we pay taxes.
Look, you're right, Rena, but there's a reason why, I mean, every synagogue to fully make it secure.
It's the Jewish
Another money, let me finish my sentence. The cost is $300,000.
Doesn't matter. Government gives out a grant right now for $195,000 to every single synagogue that applies. The problem is the motherfuckers aren't applying. They're giving them there's grants for every single synagogue for security. And they're not applying. Yeah, they're not.
Why would you not apply? I don't know.
Because they're ignorant. Because they listen. As much as like I love our people, they're saying Hashem will protect us. During the crazy,
It doesn't make sense. I
trust
trust you.
The security sector here. I know what's going on. There's some people that are taking the money, and then they're getting security companies, and then there's good Jewish and ex-IDF soldiers that run good security companies here. They refuse to use them, and they're using the brown guys that are charging $18 an hour, and they're using them, and they don't do shit. And the people that actually know what they're doing, they don't want to use them because they're like, it's too much money. But you're fucking getting the money free from the government that pay for it. And they're not.
I mean, how do they actually give the grants?
No, they give the grants. I think a couple of shows get it.
You're teaching me about things I didn't know.
I didn't know that. I haven't heard that happening in the U.S., my
Why
friends.
should there be a Jewish tax, though? The Jewish tax being that we have to pay for Jews, plus we have to pay for our
That's what we're talking about.
But our Jewish schools are accredited.
Yeah, we know it's. Hey, by the way, Rena, anti-Semitism is bullshit too. We know
No
that.
kidding.
So
But
we're
the
past
Muslim schools,
that.
they gotta pay for them too, guys. Come on. It's not. You know, unless it's a Catholic or Christian school, the government's gonna pay for it. But Jewish schools aren't paid for it. But they also don't. The Jewish school also doesn't fall into the curriculum, so they don't give like there's a big problem with that too.
In America, it's different, bro. I mean, because they have private Catholic and Christian schools too, and Jewish schools are considered private.
Yeah, you have to pay too for some private Catholic schools, but yeah, there's no funding for the Jewish ones.
Most of the synagogues here, they have protection. There's even a Jewish day school here where I live. Every day there's a fucking sheriff officer parked in front of the fucking. You can't even get inside without passing by him. So it's all fenced off and everything. That's on the establishment themselves to make sure that their congregation and their
100%.
students
Yeah.
are all fucking safe.
Yeah. So there's a Jewish school on Chess Almas that's been shot up 4 times. That has 24-hour police car in the parking lot. But all of these congregations, I know of other congregations, they call like for Hanukkah, they call for Yom Kippur, they call for Purim, and they'll send police officers. But the problem is they're not doing it. And I'm not joking, man, when I'm telling you, they say Hashem will protect us. It's like crazy. Yeah, Hashem will, but you give you free will. You have to kind of make decisions for yourself.
Yeah, like people like your cousin, bro, who have companies like that. If I was a leader of a congregation, those are people that I would hire more than the police, actually, to tell you the truth. Because even the police are still not super reliable, to tell you the truth. There's school shootings that happen here in America, and they have police officers in the school, and they still happen. The one that happened in Texas a couple years back, the police officer ran away from the school.
Wow.
They were running away. That's why I don't trust the police.
It's like Shomrim in Brooklyn. Shomrim in Brooklyn show up a lot quicker than the cops do.
Yeah, so we have Shomrim here in Canada as well, like that my family's involved in. And same thing, they show up first. They're on scene of like every one of those protests, as well as like Herut's Tactical Solutions. They've been to every single one of those events. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's like Jews have to defend themselves. I kind of understand what Rena's saying, but at the same time, we can't let it get to us. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of programs that are just not utilizing them, and they kind of want us not to. The government doesn't give a fuck. We have some good speakers, like Pierre Poilievre, the guy that was running against Mark Carney. His right-hand person is Melissa Lanson, who's a proud Jew, and she's very loud and well-spoken. She'd be like second in command. She never ever stopped. She keeps going to every Jewish event. She does everything. And Roman Daber, he also does that. He speaks up loud and proud. But these people, I don't know.
Yeah, they speak up, and they also lose popularity
because of speaking up.
That are speaking about some radicalism that's occurring.
Yeah.
So they're also not in power, and they keep losing people from the roles that are having to walk over, trying to get a majority to.
They did.
I know they did, but we're not a majority yet. They still one short.
I thought 3 walked over.
No, 2.
Oh, that's crazy.
How walked over? Sorry, I missed your message before.
That's fine.
Like even if you hear the gun minister, the firearm minister, the chief firearms, like it's the
retard.
Oh my God, Harry, you have to check out this guy. Like he talks about.
He doesn't even know English.
He doesn't even know anything. He's never fired a gun. He knows nothing about fucking guns. They even caught him on a hot mic saying, "I don't know what the fuck I'm doing." Like the guy's.
Wait, that's a minister?
He's in charge of the firearms, and he's banning them
in the whole country.
Crazy as shit, bro.
In the whole country or
Yeah.
Throughout the whole country.
He has no idea, like,
This is the Peter principle at work.
it is. It is. 100%. That's exactly what it
Maybe
is.
are you aware of
of the Peter Principle?
No.
It says everyone rises to their level of incompetence in an organization.
It's like he's maxed out because he's so dumb. Like
Exactly.
he can't actually do his job. He's reached this level of incompetence. But that's the whole Liberal Party, really. I mean, the only way that they're in power is by changing boundaries and like manipulating people and giving handoffs to their cronies. So they
Also, did you see the health minister, Rena?
Which one?
That lady with the hijab.
That one? The fat lesbian?
Yeah, she's fucking obese.
Fat trans obese lesbian.
And she's telling people how to eat. It's
has diabetes.
Yeah.
You know what's pretty
diabetes.
interesting is one prominent member of Mondani's transition team is a trans woman. Yeah, is a trans woman rabbi, former rabbi.
No, current rabbi.
Oh, is he? No, sorry.
Trans rabbi.
Former member of a Hasidic community.
An anti-Zionist rabbi.
Right, that transitioned and is now a reform rabbi.
No,
and anti-Zionist. That is just.
This is like Idiocracy with.
I love that movie. You turned me on to that
whatever,
movie.
like where the wrestler becomes, and then he just like hires the dumbest people to. It's like that's the education minister. He's retarded.
Yeah, it has electrolytes.
Cousin.
That movie is priceless.
Yeah, well, now we're living it. It was pathetic, really. Yeah, I don't know. You got like a bunch of dumb people in power doing dumb things, destroying civilization. I mean, it's not really a good time.
And whose only qualification is that they're DEI hires.
Oh, God, don't even get me started on that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. They're not competent in what they do.
Well, the Liberal government botched that. Now they started letting go of all the minorities and women thing because Justin Trudeau is crap. Now he's dating Katy Perry.
Yeah, how's that working out for him?
Really great. I mean, they're both stupid, so obviously I think it's a perfect match. Seriously, they're both dumb. So it's actually a match made in heaven. I think it's gonna work.
This is okay. This is what I have to think about Pierre Trudeau. Let me get it up.
I was hoping he'd crawl under a rock and disappear forever, but no.
This is what he wore when he went to the Biden White House.
I can't see.
Well, it's just.
Was he wearing his blackface or Indian?
No. So I'll describe it. Others can look at it. These really beautiful brown shoes, although he completely destroyed it with blue shoelaces.
Oh,
and then he has
the rainbow socks.
Then he has red, white, and some darker blue socks, and then he has a beautiful blue suit. So each of these separately are beautiful things. Together, it's like a mishmash of color. It's just like the shoes are wonderful, the suit is wonderful. The socks are kind of interesting, but I would never wear them. But he put them all together, and literally all the cameras went from taking pictures of his head to taking pictures of his feet.
Socks. Yeah, he's a clown. Destroyed Canada. Now Mark Price works. Have you read Mark Price? I've read the prologue. You should take a look at that because he's actually dangerous. He's like a Hitler in the making.
That's scary.
He's really dangerous if you listen to some of his rhetoric. I don't know how he's managed to get into positions of power such as he has because the guy's insane. And I don't understand how people can read his book and listen to his rhetoric and think that he should run a country. Like he destroyed the UK economy, according to the former Prime Minister of the UK.
Wait, how did he go from UK to Canada? Does that work in the Commonwealth?
He was born in Canada, and then he was working as the chief minister destroyed the economy there. Then he went to go read some other investment books or something in the United States. And he's been in the United States for 10 years. And then the Liberal Party flew him in because they needed to get rid of Justin Trudeau. And Pierre Poilievre was like leading in the polls, but the minute that they flew Mark Carney in, they voted him in prime minister within themselves, okay, and then had an election and convinced the Liberal supporters that he was going to be different. And shit. Sorry, on the highway. Yeah, and then managed to convince the Liberals that he was going to be different from Justin Trudeau, and then he won somehow. And then he had to, what do you call it, get rid of his American citizenship. Like, he hasn't been in Canada for 10 years, and now he's the prime minister.
Hey, why did he have to get rid of it?
Because you're not allowed to hold multiple citizenships when you're prime minister of the country, yeah.
Problem. I wonder how that works. You just write a letter and send it to the State Department, I renounce my citizenship, and send them back your passport?
Yeah. Whole process.
Or you go to court? I wonder how that works.
Just fill out a form, pay a fee, submit your passport.
Brookfield.
I woke up this morning at 5:30 and I'm like, holy shit, what happened in Australia? I was like, is this real? Like, did this really happen? I was
Nothing
traumatized.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
That's
some normalization
there
of
with my
this.
daughter, so yeah, it's a bit shocking because when I went there, it was so peaceful. I can't tell you how lovely Bondi Beach is, and like the idea that there was a shooting on that beach is unfathomable to me still. Like, I'm so
Isn't that the A+ beach to go to? Like, if you said I want to go to, if you said to a travel agent, I want to go to Australia and go to a beach and like just hang out on the beach, when they like book a place and they would say go to Bondi Beach or Bondi Beach, however you pronounce it.
Bondi. I would not say it's like the best beach in all of Australia, but in Sydney it's a tourist destination point, and it's like how do I describe it? What are the Hamptons for you? Like it's just like it's a very high end tourist destination point, very popular, and also lots of Jews in the area. There's a lot of Jews, so it's beautiful, and a lot of people hang out there. I guess it's like a Central Park kind of thing, like, you know, Upper West Side kind of thing, but like off a beach. The beach is not that swimmable, but it's just a very popular place. It's in the city, so you can take a bus there. It's and lots of people hang out there. I mean, and a bunch of hippies. They hang out there like every Saturday or Sunday, and they're doing big running circles. It is a very peaceful place. There's never any violence. Australia in general is usually, like, people are very chill, and they're not used to the international kind of like world. They're very isolated there. They're very. But it's definitely going to shift things. I hope it gets the Liberal Party in power. I mean, the Liberal Party there is the Conservative Party, so I hope it gets Labour out of power and gets a more conservative government. But let's see what happens to New York, right? I mean, Mondani's not exactly a Jew supporter. I mean, what happens when you elect a jihadist for the biggest Jewish community in the United States, and he then hires all of his jihadist Marxist cronies into positions of power? What do you think is going to happen in New York? I mean, that wasn't a recorded statement, but just how she found out anyway.
Are you okay? What happened? Did we have a party?
Definitely not.
What happened? Danny? Your goldfish died? Fuck. I want to beg. What happened? Danny? What happened, J-Lo? Don't tell me Mimo. What? Nemo? Mimo? Nemo? Nemo died?
No, she lost somebody in her family.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'll let her tell who she wants.
Yeah. Respectable. Was it a pet or a human? Guantanamera. Wow, I still can't believe the news. And I woke up to a bunch of texts, but fucking idiots. Wonder what Amir's room's gonna be about today. Rena. Rena's back. Guess who's back? Back again. Rena's back. Rena's back.
The room, just like talking. So.
Is that what happened? Because I was like playing on, like I'm doing work on a computer, and I looked down. I heard you talking, and then I looked down again, and I'm like, you were asking a question, nobody responded. So I'm like, did everybody leave? Oh my God.
Well, because I apparently could be very intense and start speaking.
Oh yeah, extremely intense.
Really uncomfortable.
It's unsettling. Yeah.
Exactly. Just like starts to like boil up into internal grief and English, and they get uncomfortable because they don't know how to respond. And also I overtalk everybody, so I don't really give any opportunity to say anything. Once they get started.
It's hard to stop.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the car and I'm drinking coffee. What else am I supposed to do with my time?
Yeah.
Overtalk people. And also the room itself. Like I'm in the car, I can't fix the room. So if people want to come up, I can't let them up. I mean, they can't. It's not all the same room, so nobody can come up.
Absolutely. You got wet in your pants? What's up, Professor? Come on up.
Hey, are you guys sleeping? I'm like, why is no one talking?
No, we're doing 18 minutes of silence.
I'm gonna join you guys in the silence. I'm sorry.
No problem. Well, we're done. We're done. We're done. Do you want to talk about something? We're talking about dreams. What was your dream last night?
I don't remember. But I did wake up to the
Oh,
news
well,
from
you will.
Australia. I'm just angry.
Okay.
I don't know. Words can describe how I feel.
Absolutely. I'm just anticipating what Amir's room's going to be like today, later. Amir.
Nothing. They just have all these excuses.
Do you still go into his room? Does he allow you in?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Every day.
Oh, he won't let me in. I haven't been in his room in like 6 months.
No.
I don't even go anymore. What do you like? You're not gonna convince that dude of anything, you know? Like.
No, it's not there to convince them. I'm hoping that I frustrate them enough that they.
Go there?
No, I'm hoping that I frustrate them enough that they have an aneurysm.
No.
No, I'm serious. That's what I'm hoping.
They're like, no, but you know when they were, let me tell you, let me see what they were. There was a time where Amir, he was losing his marbles. That was the 12 days of the war, Iran-Israel war. It's so funny, like, and it just shows that this is nothing to do about Israel or the land, and this has to do with Islam, you know, and their ideology. Because when they realized it was very close for IRGC to be like gone, you know, they couldn't take it. He blocked me. Amir has never blocked me. He has always let me say whatever I want in his room, write whatever I want in his chat. I was blocked for a few days to a week. Once that war was over, he unblocked me. But I did get on his nerve, you know. But that was the time that I think that was the only time they were close to having an aneurysm.
Gotta try every day. Every day.
I love it. I love it. But this thing is just so sad. I'm so angry. I'm angry.
I know. Everybody.
I made a post on Facebook. I'm like, bring back Islamophobia. Not that the word exists, but people need to talk about this shit.
Yeah.
Has anyone taken the responsibility for it?
No, I have no clue.
My friends are in Australia. They were saying, I mean, I don't know. This was when I woke up. I saw a chat comment. They were saying somehow someone was blaming it on IRGC, but I know they've already condemned that.
I heard something about Israel. If Israel finds that IRGC was behind this any which way, that I don't know how true this is. What I heard, somebody talking about this in a room earlier, that Trump will give Israel the green light. But I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Well, if this
Hey, yo!
true, I think that war like a war, like a real war. But I don't think they would do that. To be honest with you, I don't see them. They want they don't want to go. You know, they know this is going to happen. is why you don't give mic to fucking terrorists.
What did I miss? Did I miss someone?
100%. We have to deplatform
He
him.
was in the room. I wanted him to hear me, but I wish I had just started talking before he leaves. This is why you don't give fucking mic to terrorists and mock and joke. There are certain things you can't fucking joke. They first have to become history, you know? Then you can joke about anti-Semitism. When we're dealing with this shit, I mean, I say we, I mean, in the world, we're seeing it. I'm not a Jewish person. I shouldn't include myself. But when we're witnessing all this anti-Semitism, all this killing, all this terrorism, when we see this, when we're witnessing these things, there is nothing funny about it. You can't make jokes about it. You can't bring these terrorists on stages. You can't do that. Bieber's there. I hope he's hearing me. This is why this is so dangerous. This is why this is so important for people to understand. Like, it's not that Jewish people are playing role. This is their fucking reality. This is the
Right.
reality they're living. This is disgusting. This is disgusting. People have to understand this.
Right. What they do, ironically, is when they do this, they prove the need for a Jewish state. They prove the need for a safe place for Jews. So what they do with this is they set back the Palestinian cause. But it's a nihilistic approach. They just don't give a fuck. It's someone else's problem. You know, we're not going to build civilian bomb shelters. It's someone else's problem. We're going to start a war. A lot of civilian casualties, not our problem. We're going to, terrorize Jews around the world and thereby increase Aliyah, increase population of Israel, show the world why Israel's necessary. They're not, they're not playing checkers or chess. It's a very brutal approach. That's it. In my mind, just October 7th showed why there can't be a separate country in Gaza, because there was one and failed.
And not only that, I think it shows not only does Israel need to exist, but if it needs to expand its territory for its safety, then that's necessary as well. Including, so...
Starting with buffer zones, obviously.
Exactly.
That's the biggest starting point. But listen, at any given time, let's not forget one obvious thing, okay? At any given time, a Palestinian Mandela could arise. Someone who could say, hey, we reject violence. That's not the way. Let's coexist. Let's be the Gandhi. Let's, and fuck it. I know I'm picking an exaggerated position, but there's nothing has arisen. No other group.
It's not possible, Randy. It's never going to happen because it's their fucking ideology. Look at IRGC right now. They can't make peace with the West to stay in power. Just look at them, Randy. They're scrambling. They can't fucking stop making weapons and stop saying death to America and death to Israel. That's all they gotta do to stay in power. They're gonna go because of this ideology. You can't stop an ideology, Randy. And they can't. This is so weird. This is just so weird. They choose violence. They choose killing people. They take so look, as someone who was born in Islam, I'll tell you this. They teach you, they plant it in your brain that you can never leave this religion. Yes, the book says if you leave Islam, we're gonna kill you, right? They don't scare you like that. They basically tell you, like, you're in blood, you're Muslim, whether you leave Islam or not, people are gonna look at you bad, this, that, everybody wants to destroy you. We've always been victims from the time and time, blah, 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 blah. They plant it in your head. This is why we have, what do we have? 1.8 billion Muslims in the world? 1.5 of that billion Muslims in the world, they don't even know what Islam is. They've never
coming from that culture, so is the solution to isolate Islam and not integrate with them or allow them in?
I honestly think there needs to be a real talk. There needs to be, I don't care. If you're the Muslim, we have a Farsi saying about this. I'm saying it. I'm comfortable saying whatever I want as a born and raised Muslim. You guys can't, I understand it, but we have a saying. We say, I shit in this Islam and that Islam that you claim this is not that one. It's like, if this is not your Islam, you gotta fucking change its name. Call it Islam 2.0. I don't care. But the version of the terror that we see, all the extreme that we see, that's the real Islam. I need people to fucking understand it. So if you don't believe in the book, if you don't believe in the book, if you don't believe in the religion, I don't fucking care.
You gotta call it something else. So you're saying a peaceful Muslim isn't Islam?
Islam is extreme.
And that's good.
Islam is a cult. Look, when you leave Islam and you're terrified of saying it, maybe 10 years, 15 years, I wasn't Muslim anymore. I was scared of saying it. When people are scared of saying they're not Muslim, that's not a fucking religion. That's a cult. They need to be banned.
Ban Islam.
I always say it. I say ban this shit. Like, what is this? And people get mad. I think my mom's Muslim. Does she believe in any of this? She doesn't even believe men can have 4 wives. So you're not a fucking Muslim. Stop calling yourself a Muslim. She doesn't believe in any of this shit. She doesn't believe you kill people. Like, she doesn't believe. It's just like, no, you're not Muslim. Stop calling yourself, because they're validating. You know, they're by associating to this religion, they're allowing all these terrorism. They're allowing it. This is insane.
You know, I hadn't heard it as well explained as you just did. You know, you blew my mind. Honestly, you're saying, what, that like you're saying 80% of the people who identify as Muslim, only 20% practice the practice of Islam?
Randy, I don't know. Randy, the extremists. Do you know the ones they call them extremists? Like the person, whoever made this.
Well, in Judaism, we call them Orthodox. So they must be a more polite term than extremists. What do you call them?
No, because in Judaism, your religion. Listen, I'm not going to say your religion, my religion. Judaism doesn't have this ideology that you have to convert everyone to Judaism or you kill them. You have to understand Quran, Islam. Your job as a Muslim is, if you want to go to heaven, you aren't supposed to convert people all the time. And people who don't convert, you're supposed to kill them. You're not supposed to coexist with them. At some point, like right now, for example, the Muslims in America, if you live in an area that you're a minority, you live with them in peace, but you're supposed to like bread. You know, once your population is more, then they do what they do in Nigeria, which is like killing the Christians. Like in Syria, they're burning like Christian villages down. Like people don't understand. Like Islam is against Christianity just as much as they hate Jewish people. It's the same. It's just that we have more Christians, so they don't have power over you. Once they triple your number of people, they're gonna fucking kill you one by one. They're gonna
Statistically, countries like England, France, I don't know all of them, but these countries will soon be possibly even a Muslim majority. It's hard to imagine, but that's the trend. It's an invasion by immigration. Yeah, people don't realize it. It's frankly, I asked before. I think it's too late. It would take, at this point, there's no legal way to solve the Islamification of Europe. It seems to be.
There is, Randy, you know, there is, and it's by literally what some of the countries in Europe have started doing. Deport these motherfuckers back to their countries.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I don't think we talked about it earlier. I just don't believe that the public supports it. The European public supports it, unfortunately. But that's all right. I mean,
Isn't Germany one of the countries that people are actually swinging toward the very, very far right, that they're actually like kind of really fascist or something like that because of all these policies that's got them to here, to this place?
I'm out of my depth.
I thought they are actually kind of swinging toward the far right, which I don't blame them, you know, it's like...
Right. Yeah, interesting.
This is just so sad, and I don't know what's going to be the solution at the end, but there has to be something. This is not okay.
Correct. All right, well, you've really educated me on a lot of stuff. I've enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you, Andy. But this is for real. Like there needs to be an upgrade in Islam, which is not even possible because it doesn't align with Western civilization, you know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because of the violence, I'm going to say it. It's anyone who speaks against Islam in any way. It's one thing to say this on the web, but it's another thing to speak like this in public. And those people are instantly targets, and that's just the way it is. I just know enough. Salman Rushdie, all the people who've been attacked for criticizing Islam. So I think this is going to stay a word of mouth thing. Frankly, I think the newspapers are even afraid. They are afraid to report on all the crimes of Islam. I think that any newspaper is probably afraid of it. Who needs it? It's a lot easier to attack Israel. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Anyway.
They are. It's just like it's like a freaking mob, and you can't even make any comments because then there's the attack on you. Like, why did you say
This motherfucking Miss Rachel. Someday they're gonna find out that she had been paid $1 million or $2 million by Qatar or someone. I never saw such a virulent anti-Israel basher. Do you know who I'm talking about, Miss Rachel?
No, is it on Instagram?
She's on all the social media. I think now she has a show on Netflix, and she constantly posts about Israel, how bad shit, accusing Israel of crimes, and she's terrible.
But Randy, tell her who she is. She's a child.
It's a child show.
Yeah, it's a child show.
So she's brainwashing millions of young kids and their families to hate Israel. It's insane. It's your worst nightmare. She's possibly the worst of the worst. Yeah. She's a fucking nobody. She's a no talent. She couldn't make it as a pop singer. I mean, she couldn't make it. Let me be clear. She's a failure. I'll say it, Miss Rachel. I'm coming for you. You know I know you, Rachel Griffith. Okay? You know you were in my office. You know your music is mediocre. So you reinvented yourself as a musician for kids. The lowest. I'm sorry. I should have hired you for my kid's birthday party. Made you want to give you a tip. But I did, whatever. I know who she is, and she's a phenomenon. I give it up. She's probably a multi-millionaire in her new format. But I wonder what kind of money she took to become such a virulent Jew hater. So there you have it. My post on Miss Rachel. Thanks. Yeah, well, she's the problem. Because she's kids. We think we're still focusing on the college campuses, but guess what? They already radicalized the kids in high school and now at the infant level.
When I speak at the
So
you fool.
we need to be, there's work to be done.
You're a fool. Because I believe in the nothing. And I'm not an atheist, I'm a theist. And theists believe in nothing.
She's a very active poster.
You're absolutely right. You pretend to believe in it, but you don't. You don't really believe in it. Otherwise, you would follow the book too.
When I speak.
It's amazing all the people that pass through your life. If you just hang in New York, just by being around.
You started off with
Sort of when I first came to New York in early 90s, the hottest artists around, unsigned, everyone was talking about Jeff Buckley. It was a bidding war, and he had some great music. That he died tragically young. And this year there's a documentary about him. But just a lot of musicians. I still remember, what's her name, Lisa Loeb. Do people know who that is with the song Stay?
Yeah, but how do we get out talking about music, right?
You were gone, I'm sorry. We talked about Miss Rachel. I'm sorry. We were talking about Miss Rachel.
Fuck that girl.
Exactly. We just did a whole, you missed it. We did 10, 15 minutes on Miss Rachel.
Worst capo ever.
Dude, she's not Jewish. I mean, capos were Jewish.
What?
No.
I thought she was Jewish.
Dude, if she's Jewish,
She's Jewish.
I better look this up. I met her.
She's Jewish, and she is. That's why the whole community is so enraged as well. Not only is she at Children's Coast.
No, wait. Okay, Rachel. You know what? I think there's more than one person named Miss Rachel. I think there's more than one person. I happen to know her.
Sophie Garoli.
I really haven't found that confirmed yet. Miss Rachel.
People in the audience is not driving.
Yeah, I'd love to. No one has wanted to come up.
I'm looking, Kyron. I'm looking online. I don't see anything. She looks Christian to me, though. She doesn't look Jewish to me.
It's not the looks. There's no such thing.
I mean, you know what? She can actually be Jewish.
Here we go. I got one for you. And here's a data point for you. Yes, her whole upbringing, she was born in Maine, raised as a single mother, boom, 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 attended school. Okay, first reference to religion, she met her husband at a Unitarian church in New York 2010. That's the first mention of religion in here. I never heard she was Jewish, and as I've said, you weren't here, but I actually met her. She pitched some music to me. I published a few of her songs. She was a pop artist she was like a Katy Perry type.
You published some of her songs. I have published my songs.
Talk about mixing metaphors. She was a Katy Perry wannabe. That's what she was. Yeah, everything I'm telling you is 100% true. She was a Katy Perry wannabe and average, very mid, but she reinvented herself. It turns out the kids' market is a lot, it's a different world. And somehow she's a superstar. She, I don't really know her content. My daughter is too old for this. We were into other music when we were younger, when she was younger, but Miss Rachel seems to have she's huge. I can't say I know her music. So there you have it. Now you know the rest of the story. But I really believe she must be getting paid, and I'll say it again and again.
Yeah.
Someone must be paying her to be such a hater.
No, I think this is the problem with artists, actually. Artists are inherently anti-Zionist. It's they're leftist. It's just part of the community. It's like what's happening in Hollywood. Seth Rogen's Jewish, and Drake is Jewish, and they're all support Palestine. It's just the popular culture.
Look, where you and I differ is that you always see it bleaker than I do, okay? I still see most artists as being pro-Israel.
Realistic. You see it through rosy-colored glasses.
Well, call me a cockeyed optimist. I do believe that most musicians and most artists do support Israel. Yes, Roger Fuckface and Pink Floyd. Yes, I have nothing denial.
Well,
Well,
Okay, yeah, then
actually,
it's okay.
most.
I believe most artists, listen, right now, David Ellison bought Paramount, and if I understand, if I read correctly, he's not going to work with artists who are boycotting Israel. That means Paramount Studio will not work with actors who are. So I think, I prefer to see the positive.
Yeah, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But my experience has been, I always ran into leftist, Marxist, leftist jihadist supporting, people in the art scene nonstop. And now I don't involve myself whatsoever in the art scene because it was so intolerable.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
It's not your fault.
I know. I'm saying I'm sorry. Sometimes people say I'm sorry, and it's not their fault.
Randy, I was just explaining the other day.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I was just explaining the other day that there was a comedy show in Toronto. I went to 2 different comedy shows. All of them have provided the venue information at the last minute. So they're Jewish comedians performing for Jews in secret environments because of all the anti-Semitism they're experiencing.
Right. Yeah. That's horrible. It's horrible, but that's right.
And you know the worst part about it? They were terrible comics.
Wow, is that really the worst part?
No.
I would say, yeah.
You guys know when is the next election in Australia?
Not soon enough.
Hey, Daniel. Welcome to the room. Hope you can elevate the conversation.
Excuse me? I feel
I can elevate the conversation. Just like a liter of milk. I don't know what happened. But I just was feeling like I don't know. I don't know.
The Mossad is now.
Milk with honey. I don't know. I drank like 1 liter of it.
The Mossad is now joining the investigation in Australia.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah. Daniel.
They're gonna be fucked.
That's good because I was thinking today that Israel, yes, we've been talking all day on and off about the inadequate response of government to worldwide rising anti-Semitism. It's been a topic all day on and off. And I'm thinking to myself, Israel has to get involved. They have to have undercover operatives in Australia to penetrate this market. And I didn't say it, but I'm glad to hear that great minds think alike. I'm happy to hear that that's good. That, again, there's going to be a proactive response, and that is good.
Randy's happy to learn that they read my thoughts.
Well, Randy, they actually, whenever they made the statement, they're like, we want to thank Randy from Clubhouse for the recommendation.
Well, I'm not taking it that far. I'm just saying, I said great minds think alike.
I'm just saying you should be proud. They've actually acknowledged you.
He notices
Well,
things.
it wouldn't be the
I'm a
worst.
professional noticer. I noticed that.
Success has many fathers. Let's put it that way. We can all take the credit.
So, Rena, do you know how sometimes someone says, I'm sorry, but they're not responsible? But success has many fathers.
all Canadians, you mean? They say sorry, but they're not really sorry.
Failure is an orphan. That's the corollary, Sure. This is the question, it's not an easy statement to say that the Mossad is going to be involved.
I think it's about time, Randy. And honestly, I would appreciate if Mossad also came to fucking Europe because, nobody's doing shit here.
Exactly. That's what has to happen.
Time somebody does something,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's going to happen, and I just hope it stays very low-key. That's all I can say. It's very low-key, and I hope they're successful, because it's a war. It's a full-on war.
Yeah.
And that's that.
The war has not stopped.
Right.
This is only going to get worse.
Much worse.
I know it. I can feel it. It is going to get worse.
It's going to get much worse.
I mean, it's a cancer. If you don't treat it and you only condemn the cancer, Like you can condemn the cancer as much as you want.
I condemn my cancer.
Yeah, but if you don't do shit about it, it will kill you.
It doesn't matter. I just condemn it.
I condemn the cancer. It's a bad thing. I'm against it.
I love that. We should do that. Do you condemn cancer? Yeah, of course I condemn cancer. Okay, what do you do about it?
I condemn strongly. And I write a letter also. Strongly, strong words I will use. Like,
I speak out against cancer.
these people like
Rally against cancer.
like many of the profiles when we mention Hamas, they will say, I condemn Hamas, let's move on. Like, okay, if you condemn Hamas, then let's move on. Nothing happened there.
Daniel, did you hear about the report in Australia that came from the leaders of the Jewish community citing 400% increase in anti-Semitic attacks? And then there was a member of the Australian Parliament who said, "Oh, it's always the Jews crying wolf." You know, it's like you know this. Yeah. She like went on a full-on rant about how the Jewish lobby, you know, is like embellishing this, you know, supposed anti-Semitic rise.
After the attack? After the attack or before?
No, just before this last week.
Okay.
But she's been in the government saying like how the Jewish lobby controls everything, like full on anti-Jewish libels, and it's pretty terrible. She's in government.
Jewish
The government is supposed to
people have been doing
protect
pretty
the
bad, Rena.
Hmm?
I'm saying the Jewish people, you guys are not that good. You're not good at genocide. You're not good at your lobbying. Like, I don't get it. Like, you guys are in charge of everything. You don't know how to, like, control the media when you're in charge of it, too.
It's true.
It's like, these people are fucking stupid.
We're great at music.
Yeah, we're really good at comedy and
Music, Bob Dylan, Lou Reed, yeah. Rock and roll.
really.
You got my joke, Randy. I'm saying, like,
I know.
He did get the
I'm adding on. I'm adding on to your joke.
trying to make it funnier.
Can I play a clip of this comedian?
I already saw it. Yeah, no, but go ahead. It was hilarious.
It's just like a compilation of new of like his best moments. How
Did you hear the one where he said like right after October 7th? He's like, so he said never again. Now it's never ever ever.
Yeah.
But it happened again.
It's like they said to us never again. So but after 7 October is never ever again.
Never ever.
Today it's never ever ever again.
Yeah. No, he's hilarious. I saw him live. He's funny.
I like his accent and his
I
unapologetic.
know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
He said that
Okay, let me play just a little bit of it.
Yeah, when he first started doing comedy in English, he actually didn't speak English, so that's what it's even fun.
Oh, sorry for everybody.
Hi, I'm Cassie Hauser.
Sorry, 1 second.
I can see.
Okay, I'm stupid. Why do you think I'm stupid? Says why do you think he's stupid? You call me colonizer, you're British.
Okay, here it is.
Just tell us how more than anything we have. We want to know. Why more time? We want to know.
Sorry, I put those.
Sorry,
I
guys doing this is so hard to get into. This people watch. You hide small Israeli stand-up comedian does comedy in English. He's funny as hell. He talks about current situations. Let's watch. People hate us again. Upset. They promised us never again after the They promised us never again. It happened again. I'll say never again. What's the next one?
What is it bad?
No, it's funny. Out loud, which is funny. Like that.
Like, never ever.
Ever.
We want to know. One more time. We want to know how many times. Stop lying to us. We're better. Our hospital, they got ate by Hamas rockets.
friend. What's your name? Paul? What Muslim about Paul? Bro, you can't be Paul. It's a letter that you guys don't have. By the way, the joke comes from the fact that they call it Palestine, which the name that the Romans gave it was Palestine. The reason why they say Palestine is because they don't have the letter P, so they made it up into Palestine. That's the joke. Where are you from, my friend? Pakistan? And how did you hear about the Uzbekistan? Do you know what she did? She is written on the map.
What?
Like he said, like where Pakistan, and then someone from the crowd said Uzbekistan, and then he said in Hebrew as if there's a difference.
Okay, that's what he said.
Hi. Illumi and I saw him together. He's amazing. He's the best.
Oh, really? Oh, you guys are so lucky. he's really good. Let me just run a couple more jokes.
So far, everything was true. Enjoy the landing. Oh, you're from Uzbekistan? Full Muslim? And how did you hear about race? Listen, you're so minority right now. You don't even know. And I'm so happy you're here if your attention is good. Maybe you came to kill people and you just... Well, how did you hear about the show, my friend? Your wife is Jewish. We really respect that when the mother is Jewish.
Because then the son's going to be Jewish as well. By the way, in Muslim belief, it's the father that has to be Muslim. So very confusing when you have a Jewish mother and a Muslim father.
If it was not opposite, they would not applaud. Believe me, I know.
I got kicked from the room.
They shall fall by the edge of the sword.
I got kicked
Shall
from
be
the
led
room.
away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So when we look at that land right now, Jerusalem, we see
Right? And so it's like that sort of piecemeal process.
Benjamin, Levi, so on. 12 tribes. Remaining
Attempts at human beings to come up with a kind of, useful worldview, right? It's not going to be that just appeared one day.
But to your point about sacrifice.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but to your point about sacrifice, based on what Piper just said, I've also read where, with the simplistic understanding that these early humans or beings would have had, they see these natural disasters happening, like a volcano or a horrible storm or some pestilence, and they see others dying. So they're going, okay, these things are dying. These things that are happening that we don't understand are making them die. What if we just made a few die before the things happen? Maybe that would have some kind of effect on whether or not the horrible thing happens. It's not unreasonable to assume
like
that.
a logical next step. Do you see what I'm saying?
Why would it be? Why would it have to be? Wait. Why would it have to be logical?
I wouldn't jump there.
Wait, do you think these
sacrifice my neighbor?
Do you think ancient peoples are basing these kind of decisions on logic?
Yes. In the
Why?
same way that we are. Because we're logical creatures. We have a consciousness. We have, the same thought process that I'm thinking with right now.
You don't think the overwhelming fear that like an early hunter-gatherer type person just is like, a human being that is basically just fighting for their very existence every day against nature and against bigger animals and them and all that kind of stuff. They're not kind of fears that would override.
Assumption that they're going to say,
why was it this I've been here before?
Fears and nature.
Well, no, I mean, but Mr.
one for another.
Why?
Just get to go sacrifice. Like the reason people started sacrificing animals eventually was over time they constructed a belief system which included these like supernatural forces that they would have to appease, right? And appeasing them ultimately ended up being doing things like sacrificing animals, right?
principally because they often would imagine that there was like, you know, one of those supernatural beings was actually the spirit animating the animal or something like that. But that required like, you know, a sophistication and development of the worldview of these people. It didn't just happen when they were sacrificing goats.
But that's just not what the evidence shows. The evidence shows that it
That is what the evidence shows.
That's exactly what the evidence shows.
No, the evidence shows that it appeared. And here's the other thing.
No, it doesn't.
It appeared in a blanket sense in independent
Well,
environment.
no, because that doesn't make any sense with the evidence that we actually have, because like sacrifice goats, right, was because they had a worldview structure that seemed like the thing that they needed to do, right? And that worldview structure was, you know, inevitably going to be constructed, you know, over time as a result of the experiences of these people in that environment, right?
That's not a one for one. You can't get anybody.
It's inevitably not going to be the case that just happened they were sacrificing goats.
Modern humans today, right? Today, which should be technically on what you're saying, be based on more logical thinking. Today, they're still making belief claims about miracles and prayers that based on these coincidental correlations between a prayer and something happening. Why wouldn't you think that would also apply to like ancient people that did not think as logically, but maybe even thought more emotionally? Why wouldn't they be making more correlations like that?
To kill something, there's no effect, right? So if you
what do you mean there's no effect? Wait, what do you mean there's no?
Okay, so if I just kill something and I say I wish that if I kill this thing that it's going to rain.
And what if that did happen? What if that coincidental correlation did happen? Even one time when they really needed it, where they would not, in their simpler thinking, would not say, okay, let's keep trying that. And they could have failed 10 times, and every one time they did succeed.
But you're talking about a huge leap from saying, I'm going to wait for rain.
You understand that? Wait, you understand that? Wait,
that's huge. To kill something.
No. Look. You understand that hunter-gatherer tribes in like prehistoric times are not like they don't have the same like way of thinking about the world that post-enlightenment human beings do.
That's right.
You understand that?
Well, I think
like it's going to be completely different.
Egotism. I think that you think that old people are stupid. I think you think
it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do. I mean, first of all, it is true that hunter-gatherers in prehistoric times had less information about the structure and nature of the physical world than we do. That's because scientific progress is a thing. But it's not even about them being dumber. It's about the fact that they didn't think about the world in the same way we do, right? Because they hadn't had the Enlightenment or the scientific revolution yet.
But what are you?
They hadn't even had some of the like proto-scientific developments in the ancient
We're being cognitive elitists. Viper stuff.
Yeah, against the Neanderthals, right? So what I'm saying is that
you're talking about
you're assuming that a dumb individual will say, well,
I just told you it's not about them being dumb. If you put your listening ears on, please.
No, but what you're saying is crazy, though. To say it's one.
No, it's not. It is one of the least crazy things that I do.
Killing something or somebody for rain, and then not only that it popped up all over the world.
Do you not comprehend that people had different belief systems than you in the prehistoric times? Like, do you not comprehend that people separated from you and your culture by thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years?
And humans were extremely nomadic. They were around.
You understand that those people, right, are not going to think about the world the way that you do, right? You get that?
Yeah, those people are idiots.
Oh my God! I think you're an idiot.
You're missing the point. You're absolutely missing the point. Sacrifice is a fundamental part of all religious thoughts, and it appeared at the same time. That's one indication that the spiritual.
It didn't appear at the same time.
All over the world. So that's one.
The thing about it
is, the thing about it is, there were people like maybe even 100 years ago, maybe about 60 years ago, right, that probably still believe in these same ancient rituals, right, because they were cut off from the rest of the world that had scientific view. So notice something there. It's just the fact that that's all they knew. So now you give them enlightenment, and suddenly they don't know that anymore. Suddenly their behavior changed. You see how it just has something to do with just not knowing. Those people back then did not know.
So that's my next point. That actually takes it to my next point. That in history, the Judeo-Christian reality is that in the first century, religion changed. That pagan sacrifices began to be extremely unpopular, and they had been going on since the very beginning.
Where was that?
All over the world.
No,
starting in
that's not true. In the first century. Wait, hold on. So you just named one area on the planet. Meanwhile, there's
I said starting in Jerusalem. Okay, so
the point is, this is all based on knowledge, right? It's all knowledge based, correct?
Exactly. That's my point. That in history there was a particular point where religion changed. That the concept of the pagan began to be unpopular, even though it's been around since the very beginning.
Okay, so that's
a non-temporal intervention.
Okay, but the problem is it wasn't just the beginning, because when you look across the world, right, people had different ways of doing sacrifices, if they did them at all, right? But they definitely had different rituals that don't even resemble each other.
Is sacrifice a fundamental component of all religion?
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know that much.
I would say even in Buddhism, where they abhor sacrifice.
Buddhism.
The concept of abhor. Yes. In Buddhism, they don't sacrifice. It's either Buddhism, Hinduism. There's a concept of non-sacrificial belief, and it was when Buddhism first was introduced, it was revolutionary. That what? There's a non-sacrificial obedience to a deity. So it did catch on, right? So the concept of sacrifice.
I think this happens to be the guy that's going to be like the old new person when they go on stage. He's like,
I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend, but the concept of sacrifice being a
blanket. It's just like you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. So the concept of sacrifice being an integral part of our religion is it means that there is some other force directing the concept of religion, because in reality, sacrifice and belief don't go together. Do you see what I'm saying? They're not a one for one. I believe, therefore I sacrifice.
No, because oh my God, you got me saying, oh my God, goodness. All right, so first of all, again, there were thousands. Yeah, they're appealing to myself. There was I got the wrong PTR up. Supposed to have the God PTR up. I don't today. I have the regular one. So first of all, there were thousands and thousands of different religions that developed in different time periods, right? And they look different. They might cross, in various different attributes of the religion. But that does not say that every one of them did sacrifice in the same way. There were animals that didn't exist in certain regions of the world.
Yeah. So even the simplest search of multiple sources, historical, whatever, dude, I've just checked several sources. Sacrifice. No, not AI. Sacrifice is not a fundamental part of all religions. This is a false statement.
Okay, so just in all ritual religion, in all pagan religion, what we call traditionalists, and this is what we find in the deepest jungles in Africa, in the deepest Amazonian forest tribe, we find some people that are practicing ritual sacrifice as a religion, And you're gonna tell me that religion isn't, I mean, that sacrifice isn't an integral part of religion?
But again, like I said,
Google it all day, but experience it.
If you don't understand what we're talking, I don't know where else there is to go with this.
Yeah, because like I said, there were different religions that developed differently, some way more complicated than others, in the same time that there were ones that were very, very, I'm going to use your word, primitive in its standing. Are you ignoring the fact that religion evolved? Are you trying to say that it just popped up? It's like, we're just like this?
It appeared. Yeah, even
that doesn't even make any sense.
That's what you're not understanding.
You've been in
a world. No worries. Because you
No, I'm not looking at the world the way it stands, the way I look at it.
Exactly. You're looking backwards.
I'm looking at it. No, but I'm looking at the historical facts of the religion and the development of the. Google this. You can Google the development of any religion, and you can tell that they all evolved. Like, this doesn't even make any sense. You just said they just poof and suddenly they have all the rituals, sacrifice, everything intact from day one. How does that even make any sense?
Right. That means
you cannot believe that.
No,
you cannot believe. I'm sorry, you cannot.
This is what you're missing. The concept of sacrifice is specific. It's ultra specific. I mean, because we have it here in this culture right now, we look at it and say, oh, okay, yeah, religion and sacrifice, they go together. But in reality, logically, they don't. They don't have anything to do with one another, right? The fact that it is permeated through every single religion, the concept of sacrifice is unique. That's unique. And because it's unique, and because it appeared, and because it's unique, and because it appeared, that means it had to be, there's some sort of truism with the concept of believing in the supernatural and sacrifice. Yeah, that's what you guys recognize.
But they were unreligious sacrificial practices.
Subjective truism to the concept of believing in the supernatural and sacrifice.
Yeah, but Flavor, they are unreligious sacrificial rituals. You do know that, right? That's why I'm so confused by this. Anybody that says, am I wrong when I made that statement? There are unreligious sacrificial rituals that existed in humanity and history?
I don't know. No. All religious observance.
Yeah, it was very bad, by the way. It's like.
You find your license to stream your show.
Hello, my fellow Clubhouse brain rot sufferers. I would like to read a poem for 60 seconds, if I may.
Thank you, darling.
Were you circumcised?
Okay, if you're suffering from brain rot and you don't know what to do, just listen closely with your ears instead of your mouths. That's right. Use your ears. Here we go. It's called meditation. I am the clarion call of the beyond, reverberating myself throughout the garden of delight. I am thy breath of life. O child of Eden, pervading thee with the perfume fragrance of my spirit. Thy very self am I, O Israel, and self of all that is. Deluded by the delusion of personal independence, the uninstructed mistake the descent of my power from the life breath of Ruach for an ascent of power from my manifestations in Malkuth. Know ye that never does power have its beginning in that which is below. It doth ascend from earth to heaven, even as Hermes saith, and from heaven it descendeth again to earth, as also he saith. Yet remember that whatsoever the sages write is always veiled, lest the profane here on Clown House burn themselves with the fires they know not how to direct. Thus canst thou see that they who read the words of the sages on Clown House with the outer eye alone mistake the inner import. Dost thou aspire to the height of the sphere of the sun? Worthy is thine aspiration, but many are called, and few are chosen on Clown House. For only if thou canst understand the written word with thine heart, canst thou perceive that even thy aspiration cometh not from the levels of guf and nefesh, but is truly the reflection of my descending power from Ruach. Always then is aspiration like the reflected image of the sun in a glass, which if it striketh straight into the eyes, seemeth to be the sun itself. No man riseth.
Sorry, you asked for 60 seconds, you went for more than 60 seconds, so...
James.
Sorry, music. I just had to, bring justice back into the room. So anyway...
Dean Sausage Records.
Example.
Here you'll be next.
Yeah.
So the Lord said to John, John, come forth, and I will give you salvation. John came fifth and he got a toaster.
Was it fifth or his fifth time?
He didn't come forth, he came fifth.
Oh my god.
Okay, that was bad.
It's bad, but I appreciate it a lot. I think you're funny.
Where you graduated from Compton High School, by chance? I look for Compton High School graduates.
Yeah.
No? Just say no, yes or no. It's a direct question. You don't have to comment or react. I'm being very serious. The Compton High School football locker room is very notorious, by the way. In case you don't know that.
Yeah, the two guys in Australia, they're dead.
Thanks, Marcus, for lying. Appreciate it. We're trying to provide shade for rape victims on Clubhouse. That's what Clubhouse is for.
Here's the contradiction. I'm going to explain this really quick. Yeah. Mark 7 is not about pork or kosher laws. It's about hand washing and tradition. Jesus explains that food doesn't defile the heart because the digestion expels impurity, not just because the Torah was abolished. If Jesus had revoked dietary laws, Peter wouldn't still be keeping 8 years later in Acts. The phrase declaring all foods clean is a translation interpretation, not a command. And I'll double down. I could double down on this. This is actually in the same verses in Matthew, so good luck.
He said good luck.
Hey, that's a challenge. It's an open challenge, by the way.
Oh, I know he's correct in what he's saying because it would have been consistent. That was the only thing, and so therefore, some people might have misinterpreted the text because they were doing their best, but they didn't know the original context of literature or whatever, the culture, the original spirit of why it was written and why that was a law and all that. But even though I don't really like to eat pork, there are means to cultivate pork that are more cleanly than before. However, still has a funny taste.
Oh, Vara, you don't have to eat pork with your hands. You can always use a fork and knife. Anyway.
No, no, even with your fork and knife, it still tastes like. Have you ever had wild pork?
No. So here's my question to you. You know how you have a man, and the man is like a normal guy, but then when you have a con man, then that suddenly becomes a guy you detest. Correct?
Marcus is not the mark in this room.
One second, normal, right? So you have man and con man. So if you have a text and you read it and you say, hey, this text makes sense, do you think then it follows that context is the opposite?
Oh, yeah.
Hi, moderators. I'd like to be put back in the queue because obviously we're not gaining anything here. But I'd like to read another poem for 60 seconds. So put me in the queue whenever Marcus is finished. Thank you very little.
Go for it. Oh, you're next.
Okay, here we go. Pages are down. Okay, here we go. There are 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 in 1 and 1 in 8. First, let the body of thee be still, bound by the sediments of will. Corpse rigid, thus thou mayst abort the fidget babes that tease the thought. Next, let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular, slow, so that thy being be in tune with the great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, swayed softly as a windless palm. Fourth, let the will to live be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense observe its entity. Watch every thought that springs, enhance, hour after hour, thy clown house vigilance, intense and keen, turned inward miss, no atom of analysis. Sixth, on one thought securely pinned, still every whisper of the wind. So like a flame, straight and unstirred, burn up thy clown house being in one word. Next, still that ecstasy, prolong thy meditation steep and strong, slaying even God, should he distract thy attention from the chosen clown house act. Last of all these things in one overpowered time that the midnight clown house blossomed.
Thank you. You got to 60 seconds. That was really good. Yeah, it took 65 seconds, even more, so kind of like I felt cornered there.
Oh, I was saying thank you to giving you more time, not the actual piece. Well, thank you for the piece.
Oh,
Thank you for
we can always bring it back up. I mean, I do quite enjoy listening to poetry.
Mods have prerogative. I would like to talk about rape victims in LA, but that's up to you. It's always about campaigning, Marcus. There's always a campaign. Problem solved.
I think just grab the bull by the horns and address him directly. Like, you know where he is. He's on Clubhouse somewhere.
Because there were several of them. And one of them is material witness. That's the.
Do you have evidence with these claims that you're making?
Her, only her body is the evidence. That's the problem.
Well, did she tell you?
Yes. Like, I have to see it. That's kind of the issue.
Why can't you advise her to report to the authorities and let them deal with it?
She left the app. And the one person who's actually willing to testify wants guaranteed immunity. Otherwise, it's going to lead to a non-extradition country. I mean, look, Mark, listen to me. I know many people have heard this story, but in actuality, I do have evidence where it's true.
Dollars framework, whatever way that is, like them living under a Christian framework or Christians living under a Muslim framework. What you cannot have is both ruling the same country because they're not compatible.
Well, no, the thing is, it's worse than that. You can't have them just like, Muslim countries in the world, you can't just be like, all right, we're going to do our thing over here, you do your thing over there, we'll just leave you people alone. That's not enough. They won't leave us alone. We would leave them alone, but they won't leave us alone. That's the problem.
Because they're a colonizer ideology.
There's also, I think the thing Michael was originally pointing at was, I think we all kind of grew up kind of in this, like, end of history moment. So some of these things are, like, new that we've been having to think about because this just wasn't a thing that you ever had to think about, Like, you just grew up and, like, somebody celebrated Hanukkah, somebody celebrated Christmas. You never had to think about anything. It wasn't like a thing, right? But there is this complicated relationship between Jews and Christians, and there's a friction there. But there's also a camaraderie there, and they're both responsible for building Western civilization, So, I think Michael has the right take, which is, like, people just need to learn to get along. But that also means, like, we can call Jewish people on their shit without it being anti-Semitism. Because some of the things that they're doing as a group are real, and you're allowed to say it. It's not like you have to be cool.
Like what? Like what? As a group, what are they doing?
Hello, Music AI.
Hello, and Isa, you have my name in the wrong title. Are you doxing me or are you doxing John Fakuri?
This guy seems stable.
So, but it's a good question actually. What things
If you saw Go under the title, if he identified that as his name.
Well, so for instance, the AIPAC Israel, foreign lobbying is something that really is not beneficial to Americans, but is beneficial to Jewish interests.
Well, lobbying is legal. It's
the way in which they do it is you have to register as a foreign lobbying arm in America under FARA.
They're Jewish Americans doing the lobbying.
Yeah, on behalf of a foreign government. So that's the thing. It's a gray area workaround.
Yeah, I know it's a gray area.
No, but it's not really a gray area. It's just a legal loophole. Like, it is foreign lobbying, just straight up. And again, it's not anti-Semitic to say this. And the annoying part of the conversation is, like, anytime I have a reasonable criticism, somebody will be like, that's anti-Semitic. And it's like, just shut the fuck up. How about that? It's the same thing with, like, when you want to talk about, per capita crime statistics, that, like, black males are disproportionately violent. You can say that without being racist against every man who's black on the planet, But there's this, like, bad faith argument that anytime you bring up any single criticism, oh, you must be racist against the entire group. And it's like, just shut the fuck up with that shit. Anybody who's promoting that, any way, shape, or form, is an enemy of America.
Yeah, and this is something that I always talk to them. I always tell them that this anti-Semitic narrative is playing against them, because if you make everything anti-Semitic, then nothing will be anti-Semitic.
They've already lost that game. You can't play it anymore.
And actually what they do, when you create with racism or feminism or whatever, is that when you shove it enough, down the throat of people, they actually end up being racist or or misogynist
or anti-Semitic.
Or anti-Semitic, yeah.
Edgelord meme, like the Groyper thing, which then people who aren't internet native don't understand. So I think part of the problem on the Jewish side is there's not enough of an effort to, like, really build this coalition in a sense. And I think part of it starts with not getting triggered and understanding the internet culture. Like, okay, even if it is anti-Semitic, you just need to go the opposite way and be like, nothing's anti-Semitic, extreme free speech. If you're actually concerned of, like, another Holocaust, talk about Second Amendment rights and the
100%, yes.
Literally the only thing to talk about at that point.
I agree with all of that. Now, when I hear their side, and you hear, for example, like all these protests and all this narrative about globalizing the Antifada, or from the river to the sea, all of these chants are call to violence chants. And when you see it, all the the things that have been happening, you know, to Jews, like, for example, what happened in Australia. It's like these guys are truly, truly scared of going out and celebrating their fucking Hanukkah without fear of being attacked. And so when I understand that side, it's like, yeah, of course they feel that there is anti-Semitic because they are like, they don't trust anymore the people that are even just saying things against them. I know it is extreme, but imagine living like that. Like there must be something you can do, like law enforcement. Like you cannot just chant a call for violence, you know, against a specific group, and it's what has been allowed in the name of freedom of speech.
You can call for
Yeah, I mean,
violence against
it literally
Call for violence.
Yes, you can. You just can't be specific about it. You can
call for violence.
You
Yes.
can say kill the Jews. This is all completely legal. You can do
It's
that. You can't say kill Isa at this address at 4
Right.
Like that's the.
Isa's not American, but like, yeah, our free speech laws are the best in the world in terms of defending free speech, and even though this speech is horrible, it's not illegal. You know what I mean? And like, we're not going to make it illegal anytime soon. And when like, here's a good for instance. If Jewish groups get insecure and nervous and freaked out about people calling for violence against them, which is obviously very, very valid. It's a very valid thing to be concerned about. But then the part where you lose Americans is you go, we need anti-Semitic laws where you can't say anti-Semitic things. And it's but it's like, not. You might be against that. As an American, that like
anti-American.
It's anti-American, and you are now like you're going from a place where like I can talk to you and we can have a conversation to a place where you're trying to take away my freedoms and liberties.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
thank God, free less.
Huh?
I say, oh, thank God, free at last.
When it comes to freedom of speech, I understand what you guys are saying. Like, I consider myself to be absolutist. Like, I think you should be able to speak about everything. But I also understand that there is a line, right, when you call for violence. And so maybe I am
call to action.
unaware on, like, where that line is crossed. If you need really to be that specific, that's like, go and kill
Lisa, you can
there.
scream fire in a crowd.
Oh my God.
I know.
Jesus Christ. Or that a call for violence, that it's like, okay, you need to wipe the Jews, and there are people acting on it. That would be.
All I'm saying is you can scream fire in a crowded cinema if there's actually a fire.
Even if there's not, you can still scream it. Yes, you can. Fuckface.
No, it's not.
Yes, you
Disorderly conduct.
This guy. Who's
Yes. It is literally classified.
Yes, it's literally not.
Yes, it really is.
It's literally not.
Yes.
Well, that was a waste of
I
time.
guess here's a question, like, if someone does that, let's say, like, someone does that and your kid gets trampled by someone running out. Like, I think you'd be justified, like, beating the shit out of the person who yelled at, right?
Well, listen, the point is, you can go into a crowded theater and yell, yo, these nachos are fire, and you can scream fire, okay? It's like, all these things are like, it's about intent, behind what the words are. Like, none of the words are illegal, The intent can be illegal.
Trying to cause a panic.
Right.
Leads to actual
But that's the problem.
harm right now. Then you can be prosecuted for that. That's
Yes.
The immediacy of it.
It's Brandenburg. And the yell fire in a crowded theater was before Brandenburg. It's not the law of the land even.
But David, this is exactly what, for example, this phrase of globalize the Antifada means. Antifada, when you just translate the word, the word is uprising. It's like, oh yeah, well, it means nothing. But when you put it in context, there were two Antifadas. Both of them were against Jews. There were a lot of murdered Jews. And now the people talking about globalizing the Antifada, what do you think that they mean? Of course, people are not going to be speaking in very specific
Jews should run.
We know what they mean. They're calling for genocide. We're just saying it's legal for them to call for genocide. That's what we're saying. Not that it's good, but that it's legal.
Well, but it depends, because
protected speech.
So where do you draw the line about a threat? Because when
specific and credible. Specific and credible is what the threat needs to be.
Yeah, but hold on. You're discounting the fact.
Oh, what am I?
So this is where you are correct. However, when you are faced with politics and justice or lawyers, they will politicize your speech and arrest you. So freedom of speech is, again, it's political.
Well, yeah, we're always fighting. We're always fighting for freedom of speech because people are always trying to criminalize it. But we have very strong constitutional protections. So, if it goes to the Supreme Court, the law of the land is that it has to be specific and credible. And this has been settled for a long time now. Can they criminalize you and do something that's constitutionally illegal to you? Yeah, they do that shit all the time.
Well, look at the people versus Larry Flint. Yeah.
Everything they did during COVID was constitutionally illegal. But if you took it to the Supreme Court, like you had to. Again, this is why the fight for censorship happens on social media more than it happens like in the courts, because whatever is accepted on social media is kind of whatever the law of the land is in terms of free speech in like a practical sense in today's day and age.
See, freedom is.
I can't say it on the internet, then I can't say it.
See, if you go on X Spaces every night of the week, there's massive anti-Semite rooms with extreme anti-Semite speech. Now, if you were to censor that, what you're really doing is censoring stupidity. So censorship, again, it goes back to political control, in my opinion.
With private property, because speech is an extension of owning one's own body and one's own self, and owning one's physical means of distribution of information. So it is an infringement upon one's individual private property to censor speech.
Yeah, 100%. And again, the way you cover. Go ahead.
Can you open my PTR briefly? I mean, look at this. This is what I'm referring to. There is something called the Ku Klux Klan Act in 1871 from the U.S., which talks about when speech interferes with civil rights, right? When you are preventing someone from their rights of, movement or whatever, like for example, if you're threatening someone and they know they're being attacked with speech because they're Jews or they're being threatened, they are not going to be able to go out or celebrate Hanukkah. So you are interfering with the civil rights of other people. And this is what I mean by threat.
And people
this is not law of the land.
What is this?
This is a bad law from 1847 or whatever. And what is this, 1871? And this is constitutionally illegal. So
being here doesn't mean your rights are being deprived. Unless they're like blockading private property and being like, okay, we're all gonna go out and and even that wouldn't necessarily bother it, but they're not actively suppressing things. Creating a climate of fear or something by posting stuff online is not illegal. That's not depriving people of their rights.
You see right there where it says suspend, it gives the president the power to suspend habeas corpus. That is constitutionally illegal. Lincoln did it, during the Civil War, and it was constitutionally illegal then. It's always constitutionally illegal. This is the thing is, like, we sometimes live in this state in America where, like, the state is doing things that are, this is what music was talking about, like, the state is doing things that are constitutionally illegal to us, and we have to just sit there and take it until it makes its way up to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court's like, stop doing that. And it's fucking annoying because you can live through a 5-year period or whatever where, like, they just are fucking suspending your rights and violating your rights willy-nilly, and then there's no consequences for it. And so that's, like, yet another problem. But again, in terms of, like, actual free speech, no, we are not putting any laws on the books that, criminalize hate speech, because hate speech is free speech. It's awful speech, but if you're going to be a free speech, advocate, you are a person who's advocating for people to say the worst things imaginable. There's no such thing as a free speech advocate who's like, I want people to be able to say, I like puppies and chocolate chip cookies.
See, you could make the.
For Nazis, you are advocating for terrorists, you are advocating for the worst people on earth. You're a
you. I mean, freedom of speech is there to protect the speech that you don't like, the awful speech, right? Because nobody wants
not just awful speech, but the worst speech. The worst.
Total vulgarity and total profanity, you have to consider it as art. And if you shut down the critic, then that's censorship. So, for example, the Aristocrats joke, it's a joke for comedians. You ever seen a documentary? That's the most profane, disgusting joke that you can possibly say because it deals with incest and rape and murder, whatever you want to throw into that joke. But the ultimate gag is that people listened to you tell that joke and then they fall raged and they voiced it. So it's just like a cycle, a chain of like dopamine on the internet. But real censorship is what was happening prior to Elon Musk buying X, because CIA, FBI, Big Pharma, everybody was involved on total censorship, total mind control, total time control. And it's still like that, but at least there's an opening now.
People get deranked, and the way the promotion works, it's basically very much like group thing celebrity. So if you say things that are controversial, if you're mean to people, you're allowed to do that. But then if a bunch of big accounts block you, then you will be deranked. And so basically, it's still mob rule. So it basically, it's
algorithmic rule. Yeah.
But it's not just algorithm. It's like only say cheerful, positive things. Only have one brand. And basically, what it's doing is it interferes with the right of freedom of association. So if I want to say follow HODL, and the algo decides, HODL's too controversial, it basically prevents me from making that choice as an individual that I want HODL's ideas in my feed.
Yeah, no, X is still censored, but it's not censored to the degree it was during, like, the COVID years. I mean, that was, like, the worst censor. It's probably the worst censorship regime in history, in American history. Not in, global history, but in American history, that was, like, one of the worst censorship regimes we ever lived through,
I will also just point out, I have literally had 40 plus accounts on this stupid app itself.
President, exactly. That's the perfect example.
You have to realize, I have had to create 40 accounts on fucking Clown House because of censorship here.
Where do you draw the line of like the call for violence that has actual consequences that materializes? That's what my head has difficulty to understand.
Yeah, that usually is illegal.
But you gotta.
This is fine. Kill John Smith at 123 Main Street at 1 p.m. is not, and especially there's weapons nearby that whatever.
I'll give you a one that Issa here's a gray area one, but it's not illegal, which is somebody could say something needs to happen to John Smith. This is a bad person. Somebody needs to take him out. That's legal. Even if somebody goes and takes that person out, that's totally legal speech. It's not nice speech. It's not good speech. But again, it's legal.
But dude, it's not legal until some liberal Democrat judge has the police arrest you. Look what they're doing in Great Britain, etc., with these social media posts, or the teacher with the LGBTQ students or the pronouns.
That's like one of the worst censorship. Right. They never have free speech, and it's one of the worst censorship regimes on the planet.
Is there going to be a civil war, like, in Britain and France? Like, what are this? Because
it's heading that way. Yeah.
Like, it's closer to going hot in Europe than it is in the U.S. And
you know why that is, Michael? Is because the state in the UK has lost the monopoly on violence, whereas our state still has the monopoly on violence. So that's the reason why they're closer to civil breakdown, is because their state is like, look at the shooting in Australia, the Jewish atrocity that just happened. Like, there are reports that it took 20 minutes for the Australian police to return fire. Meanwhile, they were on the scene and they could have returned fire at any time. That's a weak, pussified police force who does not have command or control over the monopoly on violence. If it takes 20 minutes to respond to an active shooter situation, like, bro, your state is weak, and I think that's what's going on in the UK and France, etc.
You do realize that, like, even at U.S. Army checkposts at the front gates, even the National Guard soldier in D.C., they deploy U.S. soldiers to do security without ammunition.
Sure.
Yeah, the other thing is I think there's a geography factor because the UK and Europe, everything's way more compact. So like,
Yeah.
Everything's so spread out. It's like there's no like what would a civil war mean? It would just be like skirmishes in different places.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
If somebody occupies Buckingham Palace or something, like, yeah, you're in a fucking civil war.
do you know how long?
True here in America.
You know, on this app, if you go into African American rooms, for a long time you've heard people calling that there's got to be a civil war in this motherfucker. See, that's just like dopamine flaring of a mind that doesn't understand how conflicts actually, happen, meaning weapons, supply, everything. Like, it's just stupid fucking waste of time because your iPhone doesn't explode when you toss it. And everybody in this whole goddamn fucking complex is completely addicted to their cell phone. So the whole thing deals with mind control, not like civil war, kinetically.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say America's been in some version of a cold civil war now for, I don't know, since 2016 or something like that. Like, we've been in like a cold civil war that happens mainly on the internet for the whole time. But then, yeah, you walk outside and it's like fucking birds are chirping. Everything is normal or whatever. But on the internet, you log on every day and you're like an enemy combatant in the war. It's very bizarre. We live in a weird time, man.
Well, we live in the age of the cell phone because back in 2005, I remember getting my first Google phone, and how crappy it was. But now, when you look at TikTok, and basically the mind has gone silicon, and everybody has this satellite orbiting them, constantly beeping and trying to get their attention.
100%. This is the reason why nothing ever happens, is because we get our dopaminergic fix on the internet, and it's like in a fake way, and then we're just like, okay, that's good enough, like, we're kind of like
I was just messaging a friend about that, or like drafting a message, and then I saw someone else tweet about the same thing, which is like, do we actually prevent ourselves from taking action by tweeting? And is it better to just like sit with the anger until it actually drives a real action?
tweet. Yeah, everybody thinks they're doing something by tweeting.
Well, look at it from.
But this is the I think even worse is our elected representatives think they're doing something by tweeting. So it's not even like us, the populace. It's like the people who actually have their hands around the lever of power are choosing not to pull it and just to tweet about it instead.
It's Elon Musk too, right? Like that's Elon Musk is just like tweeting. It's like, okay, you're the world's richest man. Why are you just tweeting about it to us?
Well, when he was actually running for Trump, like he had this event in Wisconsin. Actually, it was for like a Wisconsin Supreme Court judge or something, and people were asking about Doge checks, like nice innocent young Americans, like, Elon, when do you think we're gonna get a Doge check? And he's like, oh, well, So it's like if you go back to what he actually accomplished and what his money did, he himself was just going for the ride. But when you look at AOC's content or Mamdani's content, like Mamdani went and met with like 200,000 Orthodox Jews, and then you see him in a video with like Muslim. It's like Mamdani is the most mercurial everything there is type of person. But anyways, my point.
He's all, by the way, he's still a poster at heart though too. Like he's not gonna get anything done in NBC, and then he's just gonna post as if he's getting a lot done. And look, I'm in a bodega eating a fucking egg and cheese sandwich, again because I'm fucking Muslim.
Well, it's the weirdest shit. Because violence is illegal, and murdering and physical violence is the worst thing that you can possibly do to a person. The pen or the video is now mightier than the sword because it does deal with population mind control, time control, and even Mamdani begging for money. So my point is many people confuse the dinner with the menu, or I had some other good analogy, but anyways.
You're not wrong, but I think the conversation we're talking about sort of is when does if ever it spill over into the real world, and that's the conversation that there's a question many people have asked themselves over the last like 10 years, and the answer is seemingly never, but it doesn't feel like never. It feels like any minute. But it never but nothing ever happens, you know? But it feels like any minute something could happen. But then nothing ever does happen.
So my theory is that the now is the status quo, and the status quo is 99.9999% always going to be the status quo. So we're just living in this daily news cycle clickbait. Basically, it's Groundhog Day, but it's like clickbait day.
Dude, look at in the Australian Jewish shooting, there was a guy taking selfies of himself. In the Brown shooting, there were students videoing themselves. Like, even in the middle of an active shooter situation, there are people thinking, I need to post about this. You know, like this is worth so many clicks. I gotta post this shit. It's crazy.
Well, the brain has to be fully integrated now into your personality and in your digital format. So technically, like when you pull out your phone, it is your greatest weapon. But in terms of police reform, I can remember the first video of like a cop shooting a guy in a park, and I'm like, oh shit! Like now, anyways, what I'm trying to say is, you would think that videos and cell phones would stop war and stop police abuse, but no, it doesn't. Oh shit!
No, that's it's interesting. It's like I'm thinking about this while we're talking about it. It's like, let's imagine there was a dictator that arose in some country. Somebody just, Mussolini their way. They were on the march in Rome or whatever. And, what would happen? We would probably all just watch it from our phones and talk about how bad it was. But nobody would do anything to stop it, So, maybe that's the thing that makes it real is, the territory is wide open. And you could just at any point just do shit, If you wanted to march Rome, everybody's so goddamn plugged into their device that, you could probably do it if you're out there. And then people would just kind of, it would be the big dopamine for the week or something. It's so bizarre.
Well, look at Gaza. Cell phones didn't stop the invasion of Gaza, and they deplatformed that one biracial guy who was putting out those crazy dead baby videos, and those were on Meta and Instagram, etc. for months, like a year. But anyways, those videos were so graphic, but eventually that went away, and they stopped allowing that. I assume.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is during Ukraine and Russia, it's been very hard to figure out what's going on. Because they kind of have a information lockdown on things that are happening, and you have to go on these OSINT boards where you follow all the same thing with Israel Gaza. It's hard to get a real because it's people are this is you'll see a piece of information, somebody's this is Hamas propaganda, and you're okay, is it not? I don't really know because I have no actual. Because there's this blanket that comes down and we now can't see the dark spot on the map or whatever.
Look at that Nayib Bukele and the head of Panama. They just had this meeting. That guy from El Salvador, he must have the biggest target on his back out of anybody. From all these cartels, that guy every day must live in total fucking security. But even then, you'd have to be so fucking paranoid that somebody in your, army isn't gonna whack you.
Yeah, he had to cancel his trip to the Bitcoin Miami because of threats, cartel threats. I think when he's in El Salvador, he's pretty well protected. But when he's outside El Salvador, he's a target because he hasn't done much traveling outside El Salvador since he started doing this prison crackdown on MS-13.
That guy's life expectancy.
He's interesting. That's that you really can just put all the bad people in prison, and your society just instantly goes from worst in the world to one of the best.
But how did he do it? Did he do it with the CIA? Like, how did he actually get the judges out of power?
Do you think that the CIA has involvement down in El Salvador?
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's part of the Bitcoin experiment that's happening in El Salvador also. I think that's a CIA op. I have friends that have been down there and, been in close proximity to Bukele and had run-ins with certain, American guys in blue jeans. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think definitely El Salvador is a sandbox for us. I think El Salvador is kind of like the beginning of us gaining hemispheric control, and also using it as a test case to see what a population will endure, like what works and what doesn't work, how you can do a monetary reset, how you can do like autocracy. Like I think there's.
I mean, do you know how many guys are sitting in those prisons right now, butt to nut, with their head down, running around, who are like in total disbelief? Like, where did this come from? Where did this energy, this like it had to have come from external forces to fucking do what they did.
Totally. Well, and also just imagine, nothing could have ever been easier because it's like, hey, we need to round up all the criminals, and it's like, oh yeah, they literally all tattooed their faces. They have big tattoos, signs on their forehead that say, I'm a fucking criminal. It's like, okay, we'll just go get them. And they just put them in this jail. They really fucked themselves on that one.
Yeah, that's ironic. So I just want to encourage all the Bitcoiners out there, take the deepest breath of the day. Hold it for 10 seconds. 10, not 11. 10, not 9. Let it go. Let it go.